What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Now, we're currently joined by a whole plethora of people on both Discord and Hangouts on air, so I'm going to pass you across to the Hangouts so you can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever the hell is in there while I set up before the next live show.
Every time I listen to it, I'm just like, this is insane.
So basically, it's all pseudoscience then. Clearly.
Say that again?
This Musa guy is clearly very well aware that it's all pseudoscience.
Yeah, he says it. I think there was a point where he was like, there's no way that, the force can reach one body to another body. I mean, it's so nonsensical. So the fact that these people think that they got something because you can manifest it and you could use it in math and apply it to force. I mean, come on, man. This is con man shit right here.
Well, he actually said that the intervening part between the start and the end point, or the 2 points, that the part in between, there was nothing there.
Yeah. Literally saying there's no way that the force, whatever it was, could propagate from one body to another and affect it. But you can think of it like that.
Well, he used the word exert. Now, if you look up the meaning of exert or exert a force or exertion, he's saying that part where it's supposed to exert is blank. There's nothing there.
Well, you can think of it as there's nothing there.
Of course. Can you imagine that if you're in court?
Oh,
and
I do.
Question, and you always say, well, you can think of it that way.
Hold up, Vanilla. I wasn't talking yet. You jumped in. You're a little premature there, brother.
There, I was trying to catch you out there, brother. Sorry.
So the scientific community doesn't support Fight the Flat Earth, but you can think, or Fight the Flat Earth can think that the scientific community supports it.
There is no scientific community. Sorry to spoil your little run there.
Yeah, science is a method.
Yeah, there is no scientific community. If there is, I want their phone number or email address. Give me something.
The people who call themselves the scientific community typically would be the people who have pseudoscience assertions rather than scientific assertions. Those who have scientific assertions simply present their scientific evidence. That would be the experimental data based on a hypothesis after observing a phenomena which they're trying to establish the cause of. That would be what science is.
Precisely.
So they're an ism.
What, bullshitism?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's based on bullshittery.
Are we in the after show now?
Well, pre-show.
Oh, pre-show for the next one.
Correct.
Okay.
4 more hours. 4 more hours. Sing it with me. 4 more hours. 4 more.
Hello everyone in the Discord server, by the way. I don't think I've heard a word out of all of you. None of you are on mute, just so you know. Got Jessica right in the hand and someone else. Nope, they're all shy.
So as their whole line of reason is falling apart, on this layer of conversation, what's the next level that flat Earth is going to strip away from the so-called pseudoscientist?
Flat Earth is just terra firma. It's not going to do anything.
You don't think people are going to come and try to do some kind of damage control on the Muser, and as well as some of the other things that he lately has done?
I see what you mean. What will the people do?
Yeah, I think the next move on their part will show their hand, and it will even further incriminate them. But I'm just waiting to see who does it.
They don't have any moves. They never had any to begin with. All they have is the Parrot Wiki or Discovery Channel. They can't parrot Neil Smoking DeGrasse Tyson anymore because they've thrown him under the bus. Anyone that doesn't agree with them now, even on their own side, they just throw them under the bus. And then when you ask them to provide evidence, the new thing now is, I don't have to. You could believe me or it's true. Right?
So why is Fight the Flat Earth not? Why is he still around then? Because he's going to be the scapegoat, or he should be the scapegoat.
Well, no, he's just copyright striking. That's what he's doing. That's their next play because they don't have anything.
Yeah, censor when they lose.
You know, take the piss out of people until it is turned back on them, and it shows how we can take the abuse, right? We can take the abuse because we get it every single day, right? The minute it's turned back on them for a very valid point, they start copyright striking. So who's the ones with integrity? Who's the ones who keep carrying on fighting the good fight? Because they aren't.
Once, aren't they? Once.
Well, in history,
there wasn't even any personal attack. Not there wasn't even any statements about Craig himself. It was literally just a repetition of Moose's point to make the point. Do you know what I mean? There was no attack on him. It's not the level that Anthony suffers, and it is just kind of weak, really. If that's what they've got to get to. For me, him doing it speaks volumes. I'm not. You're more angry than me, Randy.
I am, yeah. Because do you know why? Because he was complaining a couple of months ago or 3 months ago when he got a copyright strike, and I have no idea what it's. I can't even remember what it was about now. But he was literally crying and telling all his subscribers that he'd been copyright struck and it was affecting his ability to earn money, and it was going to be really detrimental to him and his family and all this sort of thing. Yeah. Because he got a copyright strike, so he knows what it's like to get one of them, right? So it takes a real lowlife to actually go out of the way to actually fill in the form and copyright strike somebody for it.
Yeah.
Wait, Adam, you got a copyright strike?
Iron Realm Media has, yeah. I posted. You can see him sitting there thinking, wow, bastard, not misrepresenting me by just playing my words and George Moose's with no subterfuge, just honestly playing them. I'll get him back. You know what I mean? It's to me, it's telling that in some way he thinks that what I've posted is a copyright strike. Because like I said, there's nothing in there.
No, there isn't.
It just shows the level that they've got to come to descend to, Ranty. It's quite funny. I think I just reiterate point Nathan.
So wait, it's that video that you posted with the little clips from the interview?
Yeah.
Wow. Copyright. Wow, you're a joke, Fight the Flat Earth. You're a freaking joke. Hilarious.
You can also argue that you've fundamentally changed the video as well, because it has to be changed, and if you've transformed it, it's not his anymore, and you have done by changing it, by cutting out all the chaff.
Yeah, but even so, it's still commentary. You're still giving critique on the commentary, and you're doing it as a satirical way.
Yeah.
And he's entered into this argument. He's come into our territory to discuss this and to try and make some money off of it, because this is essentially what he's doing. And that's fair enough. Let him get on with that, right? Yeah. But when he uses our content, it's all fine. We never copyright strike them. They only get buttered. We get the piss taken out of us by conspiracy cats, baldy cats, everybody. Resurrect, they're all at it, right? And, you know, we know that they're just children playing in this game, right? But essentially, we rise above that. And the minute that they get something against them, they really hate that. It's like narcissism. It is
Well,
like narcissism, isn't it?
There's really nothing new
really.
under the sun. If you study history of war and governments who have upheavals, whether it's the Soviets or the Nazis or whoever, first thing they do is they try to discredit you. Second thing they do is they arrest all the thinkers, all the intellectuals. They send them to Siberia. They don't want any leadership that can think for themselves around. And then all they got left is a sheep, which they can control easily. This is your online version of it.
Yeah, I'm just like I say, I'm just really thoroughly disgusted with that move that Fight the Flat Earth has done. Thoroughly disgusted.
Actually, it's expected, and we should double down, triple down, and throw some more facts.
Well, I find it completely hypocritical. And he doesn't even realize the consequences of what he's done, because potentially he's like starting a war. And we could now flag like every freaking video of his that ever had a piece of
No, don't encourage people.
No, I don't want to, but that's what he's basically, he's being foolish.
Yeah, because he doesn't, right.
Because we could technically do the same. It's just stupid that he did this.
Yeah, the most Flat Earth content is original content. The only ones that need our content are the Globe Earthers, because then they play our videos and then try to mock it, right? So we don't need their videos to produce Flat Earth content. They need our videos to actually mock us, right? So he's completely correct. So we could, in theory, play them at their own game, and the only people that would lose on that is the Globe Earthers, not the Flat Earth.
No, that's wrong. We'd all lose. All of us. Everyone. Well, all YouTubers would lose.
Yes, I agree with Nathan there.
Well,
he's playing with fire, and it's stupid.
They need us more than we need them.
Shouldn't be juggling with torches in the vicinity of kegs of gunpowder, you know? That's it, basically.
You raise an interesting question, actually. You say they need us more than we need them. So you're saying it's not a symbiotic relationship then?
No.
So you are saying if without them, stood completely unopposed, we'd still be here doing what we're doing?
Yes.
Exactly.
Really? But
I concur with that.
That is true. We have our own separate activities.
Yeah.
We'd still carry on our research. We'd still carry on, meeting up and trying to get people to do more observations and work things out. We don't need them for that.
On the other hand, though,
content to mock us.
On the other hand, though, Riley would be crushed because he wouldn't have nobody to complain about anymore, which he does very eloquently, by the way.
Nathan, I'd say sadly that's more symptomatic of their behaviour. A decent opposition voice, which is proposing considered and honest alternatives, would be welcome, and that would be symbiotic. But unfortunately, all these guys are doing is misrepresenting and twisting and parroting what we've already got. They're not necessary for our continued learning because they're not actually contributing to learning. They're trying to subvert people and in a lot of cases lying and misrepresenting to maintain their narrative. So I don't think they are useful, particularly in the form they present themselves.
Agreed. They walk in the shadow of our works, literally. They're following us and trying to fool with what we do and find some kind of response to it. That's what they're continually doing.
If you look at the gravity debate amongst all of us at the moment, whilst it's being confused in some cases with personalities and stuff, the reality is the debate in of itself is really healthy. It's a good, people are, I say, you're getting a bit silly passionate, but they are approaching it and trying to work through it. And that I think is in great contrast to the way in which the gravity is being argued with the ballers.
Yeah, totally agree.
Let's take, for example, something else that might give us a comparison. For years, I've heard about the Loch Ness Monster, right? In Loch Ness, Scotland. All right, so there's people saying, oh, there's a Loch Ness Monster. They sit there, they take footage, they do whatever, the water's rippling, and they post these videos. Well, what happens is you've got these other people who say, wait a minute, I could prove that video is fake. So you got some anti-Loch Ness videos and anti-Loch Ness strategies forming. And so I haven't looked, but I haven't seen any anti-unicorn video responses to people who believe in unicorns. But here in the Flat Earth, with a worldwide audience and Flat Earthers all over this earth posting things, they had to do something. So they came out with their guns and they're trying to prove everything we say is wrong. And it's similar to the Loch Ness. It's like, wait a minute, here's what we see. And then here's the people saying, well, you don't see what you see. But then this has to do more with actual testing and them being on the record of saying that we're spinning, that there's gravity. So we're taking something they've said and we're reversing the whole thing. We're actually testing what they've said for hundreds of years. We're the ones who are saying, show us Loch Ness. We're the ones saying, show us gravity. We're the ones saying, show us this round earth that's spinning. And they can't.
That's just it, though. If that's what we were living on, I don't think we would need them to show it to us. It would be obvious that we are living on a spinning ball. We don't need them to show that to us. That's ridiculous.
No, we're saying we're challenging the educational system. I can't even believe Neil deGrasse Tyson said, oh, the reason there's flat earthers is because the education system failed. Failed? You've been lying to us that we're spinning. What do you mean failed?
But the authority simply downplays the presupposed influence of the actual spin. It's all relative. So they just muddy the scientific or the physics approach to it. That's how they do a lot of things. They have a model, but it's very weak. It's full of holes. So they just muddy the water with scientism, mumbo jumbo, techno babble.
Yeah, but
kind of make it feel right, and then everything's okay.
Who shuts down debate, Arwen? What side would shut down the debate on any subject? The side that fears the truth.
Losing side.
Of course. So they fear the truth. So they have to mock us. They have to create these copyright things. It doesn't matter. They can throw every weapon in their arsenal. They don't have anything to prove what they've taught us for hundreds of years, and we're taking it to them.
Yeah, so it's not a symbiotic relationship, I don't think. They need us, we don't need them. And if he's going to be so petty as to do a copyright strike like that, it can only lead to them having, they are going to suffer from this if flat earthers do decide in the future to actually copyright strike them back, because they'll be the ones that lose out, not us.
Actually, Ranty, I don't look at it that way, although that is one way of looking at it. I look at it not as they need us. They have to crush us right now, because what we're saying is giving sound arguments. We're asking good, logical questions. We're not contradicting ourselves like Musser did. If they leave us alone, the whole world will be flat earth believers. They have to crush us.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, but if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now, we are joined by the Adam Meakin, the Plain Truth, Sleeping Warrior, Ranty Flat Earth, Paul, Chocolate Sane, Arwin, 10th Man, and then on Skype we've got Quantum Eraser, and on Discord, if I can get there, we have Kappa, Emerald, Jessica, Right the Hand, and Unicorn Laser Eyes. Welcome, one and all.
Good afternoon.
Good morning.
Hey.
Hey.
Any signs of Earth curvature?
No signs of Earth curve.
Any sign of what?
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No.
Scientific evidence of what?
Gravity, scientific evidence thereof.
Nope. No scientific evidence for gravity, no.
It's presupposedly there, but they can't find the independent variable.
What about axial rotation?
Nope. No evidence for that whatsoever.
On my car, absolutely.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nope. No evidence of that whatsoever.
Can you presuppose a spherical Earth?
You can do if you want to.
Yeah, but how would you get evidence of said presupposed spherical?
That's not my problem. Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius itself?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Fair enough. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No measurable distance to the sun, but you can think there is.
Yeah.
Any
I
evidence?
believe that the sun's
It would be
90.
wrong, though.
Hey, listen, one of the first things that I came to in Flat Earth was the argument that if the sun was really 93 million miles away, the crepuscular rays would be parallel, vertical, right the way across the horizon. They wouldn't come from a single source point that looks like it's just beyond touching distance, relatively speaking. Does anybody think that that's relevant, or does anybody? Are you in the I'm not sure camp on that? Because I absolutely think that the horizon should show vertical rays of sunshine if it was coming in from 93 million miles away. It shouldn't have angles to it.
Good point.
All the crepuscular rays and even how it hits the clouds and everything in relation to the apparent sun position is also weird. I don't think that any of that sunlight and the shadow that it casts on is basically from a specific location, from a lamp. I think it's all holographic. So weird.
So we still have people arguing that crepuscular rays are parallel. So I don't know.
Oh, that reminds me, Chocolate. So, somebody in the chat, whose name I can't remember. I think he was called James. Nevertheless, a guy found a video I was looking for. So, I was looking for a guy whose name turns out to be, I can't even bloody remember now. But I'm going to premiere it. So I've chunked out this video. 344 was the video, and it's basically this dude who now goes over to Jose's chats. And he presented the model and explained how his reification model didn't work and how everything was interesting when it didn't match his reification fallacy, highlighting his religious zealotry. But in the video before, so 343, you've got Anthony with that exact same dude, Dean, that's his name, saying to him, how are these parallel exactly, the crepuscular rays? And you've got it on screen. And he's like, well, because I presuppose it's miles away and blah, 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 gives load of word salad. And then you go, can you see my screen? You've got the picture of it, right? It's like, the fact that they argue it is just comical. Anyway.
Look at my cartoon.
Oh, come on, guys. You could have left him hanging then for a minute. That would have been funny.
Got one more housekeeping question and then we're done with housekeeping. So, any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container for all the fundamentalist religious zealots who believe the sky is a vacuum known as outer space?
That's a technical impossibility. You can't start the setup without defining a container first.
Tap, tap, tap. What's Anthony doing? Pound says it's Anthony.
You know what? Nathan, I need to present my screen immediately.
Okay.
Immediately?
Okay. Check out the urgency in that tone. Quick. I've got my fast mouse on it.
Hang on, what? Not in like 30 seconds or something? Like,
no, immediately. Let me get this thing sorted. I've got Rumpus telling me that the 10 citations for the independent variable. He's trying to tell me that some of the citations that I've presented are, well, his words are, let me just get the words. I can't get this. I'm gonna have to get this. And I'll have to do it on the whole screen. Do that. Move that to the right. So Rumpus is saying, you are simply quoting simplified. He's trying to argue that natural science, the breeding pattern of birds, as Jeremy would say.
We haven't seen the natural experiment of birds humping.
Yeah. He's trying to argue that natural science is compliant with scientific method, and I'm saying it's clearly not because there's no independent variable. You've got to wiggle it, right? And he's saying that I'm simply quoting simplified examples in most cases. And I said, no, I'm not. I gave loads of citations from multiple angles so there could be a general and consistent position. And then he says, most of your citations you quote are not truly academic, but for teaching kids. I said, you dishonest shit. I put them simple 2 ones in there for people like you, so they miss out on some of the subtleties. Oh, you really are a stupid piece of crap, aren't you? Just ignorant, right? So let's judge how many of these are aimed at that, like College State EDU, right? University, that's 1. So let's count off the 10. How many are credible compared to universities, and then we'll contrast that with how many are lower level for the moron mongs that are on the ball Earth side. That's why I put a variety in there. So
okay, hold on one second. You got to frame the argument. You're answering a claim from somebody who said air is not the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So that's what you're doing, right?
Yeah. So okay, Penn State EDU. This is a university. This is a high school, but written by the university to feed the high school with good material. So it's a feed a high school from a university, but I'm claiming it's a university because it is just applied in a high school. Okay, thought.com, I'll give him that one. So we're on 2 for 1. Rumpus says 1. That's not necessarily a strong citation. It's not aimed at kids, but we'll give him that one just to give him a bit of weight because he's going to need some weight here. Weight's not a force, by the way. University of North Carolina, that's 3 for me, 1 for Rumpus. Explorable.com. Okay, I'll give that one Rumpus. He can have 2. So we're on 3 for 2.
No. That's a public research organization. They're high speed, man. He doesn't get that one.
Oh,
all right, so I'm on 4 for 2.
What? Say that again, John.
It's breakfast man. Sorry.
Okay.
It's a public research organization. So he doesn't get that one. It's not for kids. I already went over this in the pummeling the Pontiff Maximus from Retardia, George. We already went over this. So
okay, so we're on 3 for 1 at this point. That one there, I'll give him because it is aimed at GCSE kids. You can have that one. He's on 2. Practical Physics, the Institute of Physics in the UK, right? That's definitely on my side. What are we on? Are we on 4? 4 for 2. libguides.usc.edu, right? EDU's university. So that's 5-2. Indiana.edu, 6-2. Sciencing.com. It's not aimed at kids, but it's not a university. Should we give it him? Don't know. Maybe we'll have half each. 6 to 5.5. Is it 5.5? Well, he's on 2.5. And I've lost a word. I'm lost count on mine. But I put them all in there on purpose. I gave 10 citations from a wide variety of sources to allow for mongs. So if you didn't understand the point with the more complicated stuff, then the easier stuff would work.
This is so ridiculous, right? Wait a second. We learned this in grade school. Why are you? I don't even know why I should have to give citations for this. It's like giving citations to a butcher to convince him ribeyes come from cows. Air is the atmosphere. Go Google yourself, you freaking clown. In fact, you should play that debate when I first came out here against the Rumpus and that doofus moderator, paper explanator. I whipped idiot rumpus around by a pseudo-intellectual short hairs just coming out. I didn't even know who he was. So yeah, go play with yourself, you friggin' retard.
Yeah, so let's just, the point I want to make is how dishonest these people are. There was 2.5 citations that were aimed at the lower end of the market for rumpus. Everything else was aimed up at the top end of the market by one that was in the middle. But ultimately, his claim is that most of my sources I quote are not truly academic. They are though, aren't they? All of them are academic. But teaching for kiddies, I'll give you 2.5 maybe, but it's borderline 2.5. Really, it's only 2. But they were there for you, rumpus. So
You ain't giving him shit. You ain't giving him anything. You ain't compromising anything. Those are mine.
Sure.
Stop using my shit and compromising mine. You don't compromise your own shit.
Talking to you, Anthony. You realise that, right?
What?
He's talking to you, not Rumpus.
I know. I know.
You don't give him anything. Not air, Mr. Air is not the atmosphere. We're not giving him anything except a trip to the loony bin.
Yeah, they're all dishonest, all of them. All of them.
Isn't he also, Mr. If you have a powerful enough zoom and a clear enough day, you could see your ass in a telescope?
That's him.
Yeah, on a clear enough day with a powerful enough zoom and a bit of
scholar. Go ahead and talk all over me, Anthony. Yeah, Mr. Intellectual just comes off as Rhodes Scholar. When's your Rhodes Scholarship end there, the rumpus, a.k.a. the doofus? Mr. Air is not the atmosphere. I mean, retard, hello. Clowns.
On a clear enough day with a powerful enough zoom and a bit of Paul's maths, you can see your own ass in a telescope.
And a bit of Paul's maths.
Yeah, that was the last bit.
And a total ignorance of perspective.
That's the one I always forget.
Yeah, and a complete ignorance.
Shout out to Paul.
Shout out retracted.
Copy that.
And a complete ignorance of perspective.
Yep.
Are you talking about me?
No.
Talking about me, Paul?
Nah. You're the cool Paul.
No, Paul Voigt. I don't know what Paul Voigt does for a living, but I think he's some kind of high school teacher, perhaps.
Hey, Anthony.
Yeah.
If that last statement is true, then everybody could do their own colonoscopies.
Yeah, because you could see your own ass in the telescope.
Oh my gosh.
So, where does this leave the ballers? Do you know what? I love the fact that Rumpus has had to have a second bite of the cherry with Musa, because obviously Fight the Flat Earth's attempt was just miserable and dismal. I love the fact that he has to have another go. I just love it.
What's even more telling is the copyright strike that Adam got by playing the guy's actual interview.
Snippets of.
But it's the guy.
Yeah, but snippets of, isn't it? And technically it's his work, so he doesn't want his work being... He's trying to protect his work, he claims. No, he's just trying to protect his reputation as some arsehole. He's still going to make you an arsehole.
Well, as long as the snippets aren't out of context.
Yeah, you're giving him too much leeway there, Tony. He's a prick.
He is a prick. I didn't realise he was like that when I first spoke to him. If I'd have known he was like that, I wouldn't have bothered speaking to him. But that being said, we've had the best concession out of the ballers ever. So on the one hand, I regret speaking to him initially. But on the other hand, I'm grateful that Musa came on, because fair play to him, he's engaged to flat earthers, and not many people do. And he stabbed Craig in the eye with a compass, and Craig thinks he was supported. I love the ignorance and the delusions of grandeur that these ballers have. It's just ridiculous.
Look, from somebody that's had so much of his work ripped off, which is my own work, my own content, I can attest to the fact that somebody putting in a copyright claim for what Adam did, which was basically a satirical response to the stabbing of the eye that you've just mentioned, pales into insignificance to the amount of abuse and misrepresentation and stealing of work that the Globers have done to me. And yet I haven't responded the way he has done by copyright striking Adam. And I think he's an absolute clown. I'm never going to have anything to do with him, ever.
No, I'm not going to bother either. I don't need to. He's giving me what I want. He wants a round 2 with me, and I was going to give him one originally because I thought he was okay in the original hangout. He was polite, friendly, almost. You know, we didn't agree, but he disagreed properly. But then I saw how he behaved afterwards, and I just thought, fuck, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that to him.
I've got a quote up that's pretty relevant to this. It's in Proverbs. It says, "Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him yourself."
Yeah.
So I think we need to
do
stop
unto
answering
others.
the fools.
Right, do unto others. So I just don't want this to, as I said in the last show, spur off people to go and put community strikes and flag other people. It's just not. It's not good from a YouTuber point of view. Forget about the argument. It's just not a nice way to behave. And if you're going to behave like that, it ends up descending into chaos with everyone striking everyone for everything. No one wins in that scenario. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's probably people out there, and it's been discussed on the panel that will imply at the very least that, oh well, we could go and strike him. No, don't. Be the person you want him to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Don't do unto others as you want to do them to do unto you.
We're upset that he's done this because I've not done anything against fair use. It fits within that. So even if they are taking your work ranting, they are following YouTube's rules, then play fair, I think. If they want to play dirty, then that's another judgment that people can see and judge, and it goes towards the character and their integrity, and let them besmirch their own integrity. I'm not going to do that to myself.
Nathan, you say no one wins in that scenario, right? Well, I see these guys as kind of like those type of people that will say, well, if we're not going to win, nobody's going to win.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you've got to do the same. You've got to sink to their level, which is to take the same attitude. To say, well, if I can't win, no one will win.
Yeah, well, that's how I see it, because they can't allow us to win at all. We all know that. This narrative has been in place so long.
I'm really sorry, Chocolate. You've taken it straight onto the argument, right? Forget the argument. You're talking about people on YouTube making videos. From that perspective, and that perspective alone, everyone's a loser in this scenario. Now, you can say, well, if we all implode, nuclear warheads across both continents and everyone's blown up, well, that puts an end to that argument, doesn't it? And the survivors can just get on with it. Oh, well, that's wonderful. That's just what I want.
I mean, how long was the clip, Adam? Was it about 3 minutes?
Yeah, it's not much more than that. I think it was about just over 2 minutes of actual clip, a little bit at the end, a little bit at the beginning, and then just that repetition. I think 5 times I repeated.
I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue's so here's the thing though, you're a monetized account, are you?
No.
Oh,
you took that monetization away a while back for
right, so in that case, you're more likely to be successful with a defending claim anyway, because if you're not monetized, you're given more leeway. It's when you monetize that they're more stringent with it. I just think it's just it stinks of sour grapes.
I've got to pull you on that. Have you got anything to back that? Because I don't think that's the case at all. Fair use is fair use.
Makes no odds. Give me a minute. I'll come back to you.
Fair enough.
Do I get an apology video dedicated to me with you?
No. I said I'll pull you on that. Have you got a reference? I didn't say you were wrong. I asked you to back your claim.
I'll find you one. Give me a sec.
Adam, was it a copyright claim or was it a copyright strike?
Right, I'll pull it up. Give me a sec.
If it was a claim, it would just be he wants to monetize your video.
No, it's a strike.
If it was a strike, then he's obviously going after. He's not bothered about the monetary value of what your video made. He just wants a strike against you, and that's vindictive.
Due to a copyright takedown notice that we have received, we had to take down your video from YouTube. Video title: Gravity is a Force. Academia answers. Takedown issued by Fight the Fat Girth. This means that your video can no longer be played on YouTube. you received a copyright strike. You
Wow.
now have one copyright strike.
Wow. Yeah, so he has deliberately gone for vengeance rather than, like, I know, Nathan, if you wanted to do anything on anybody at any time, you wouldn't copyright strike them. You would just go for copyright to get the revenue from that.
Well, I mean, I'd rather not do either. So this happened recently. So what channel are we on now? We're on the Nathan Oakley channel live, right? So when I do these shows, the after show and pre-show goes out on a Friday to the main channel. So this show will actually get broadcast to a much bigger audience. We've got about 100 people watching now. There'll be a bigger audience watching it when it's on the main channel tomorrow. But the pre-show and after show is completely unbroadcast. So it's still absolutely got new content. And I'm reliant on that. I'm making my money on YouTube. I never have denied that or hidden it in any way, shape or form. This is what I do for a living. However, after the fact, press stop on the recording, start uploading it, and because it's in high definition, it took a very long time to upload. Maybe a 2-hour show. While it's uploading, I find that Ibon Kim is broadcasting it. So I got in touch with him and made it very clear if he didn't take it down immediately, I would copyright strike him. And I filled out the form and sent him a photograph of the form filled out, complete, ready to be sent, and said, take it down immediately. You're broadcasting my brand new show that I haven't even broadcast yet. What an outrage. However, I didn't copyright strike him. You know, I said I'll give you 5 minutes and then I'll do it, and I was ready to, and I would have done. But he did take the stream down, in which case I just X'd out of the copyright screen and didn't strike him. Because that's not the outcome I want. I don't want to copyright strike people. By the same token, I don't want people stealing my shit. And that's precisely what he was doing. So no, to answer your question, I wouldn't do either. I wouldn't try and... If somebody's legitimately... Sorry,
I wasn't stealing his shit.
Yeah,
I was
you're not exactly
making a comment with his content in the tradition of YouTube.
Exactly.
Hey, Adam, when somebody... Hold on a second. When somebody's talking, can you hear them?
I didn't hear anything there. That's why I came in.
Yeah, because you were stepping all over Nathan.
That's okay. Just these things happen. I don't mind.
Sorry, Nathan. No, it went quiet here. I didn't.
Just to conclude that point, I was just going to say, with regards to Ranty's question was, wouldn't you rather just monetize their video? Well, no. If somebody's gone to the effort of actually slicing up my video, putting commentary on it, using it for satirical content, whatever, then fine. However, if you just take 20 minutes of my video and play it unedited, then yeah, there's a chance I'll come along and go, how dare you? That's just my work that you've just stolen. You know, it's a very different scenario. But no, would I try and monetize that 20-minute video that they'd just stolen from me? No, I'd just rather it was on my channel being watched by my viewers. So yeah, not exactly what you... I'm not agreeing with you, in other words, Ranty. I wouldn't try and monetize somebody who just stolen my stuff. No, I probably wouldn't do that.
But if somebody took a 2-minute out clip, which I'm sure there is thousands of them, you just let it slide, don't you?
If they've done it within the realms of fair use, yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
So about that citation.
Here we go.
This is where we get ball. If this was a contentious issue with ballers, you can guarantee they'd say, "Yeah, you don't understand that though. This is what it really means," and they'll say it means the opposite. So let's just see what it says and see if we understand the position it says. YouTube's homepage for fair use. Fair use is a legal doctrine which says that you can reuse copyright-protected material under certain circumstances without getting permission from Fight the Flat Earth. Take a look at the videos below for helpful uses of fair use. Ignore that bit. Ignore that bit. Right. So the guidelines, these are not absolutes. These are guidelines, okay? Different countries have different rules about when it's acceptable to use material without the permission of the copyright owner. For example, in the US, blah, blah, blah. Courts analyze potential fair uses according to the facts of each specific case. You'll probably want to get legal advice from an expert before uploading videos that contain copyright material. The 4 factors of fair use. Number 1, the purpose and the character of the use, including whether such use is of commercial nature or is for non-profit educational purposes. Courts typically focus on whether the use is transformative. That is, whether it adds new expression or meaning to the original, which is, I would argue absolutely is what happened, because it's basically you transformed it into Fight the Flat Earth looks like an idiot. Anyway, or whether it merely copies from the original. Commercial uses are less likely to be considered fair, although it is possible to monetize a video and still take advantage of the fair use defense. Now, there's 2 or 3 other factors as well, but look at the myths. So obviously we're all on, if I give credit, that's not automatically fair use. If I post a disclaimer, that's not fair use. This is the one that's important. Entertainment or non-profit uses are automatically fair. Now, I didn't say that they were automatically. I said that they're more likely. Courts will look carefully at the purpose of your use in evaluating whether it is fair, but the three remaining factors also need to be considered. Declaring your upload to be for entertainment purposes only, for example, is unlikely to tip the scales in the fair use balancing tests. Similarly, not profit uses are favoured in the fair use analysis, but it's not an automatic defence by itself. But you've got non-profit. So although
hold on, that's in that single paragraph. So this is outside of it being transformative. So in other words, if I take a section of National Geographic's video in its entirety, unedited, and say it's for education use, in other words, I'm using it in a school, then that's permitted. Non-transformative, but using exactly as it is.
Sure.
But it contextualised that in the very first paragraph about while they would typically focus on transformative material, which this falls outside of. So in this context, it's talking about just literally cutting and pasting it, but that would be allowed if it was purely for educational and not profit. Now, obviously, there's plenty of channels out there that are definitely monetized that will use the fair use rules because it's transformative. But in this exception, when it's educational, it doesn't have to be transformative.
Correct. But he has transformed it, and I would argue that he's transformed it anyway. But the point you pulled me up on was whether or not it was more persuasive that he's not monetized.
But non-monetized is non-monetized is when it's non-transformed. In other words, if you're using it for educational purposes, not transformative purposes. So they're different categories. So the fact that he's transformed it means you can monetize the shit out of it. You can do what you like with it. It's transformative.
I'd agree.
Well, there you go.
I'm just saying that my point was that what you're actually doing there, Nathan, is giving me a red herring because I didn't make the point that you're saying, which I agree with. My point was that if you're not a monetized channel, you have a more persuasive position than if you are monetized, although it's not an automatic defense, but it's favored in the fair use analysis. That was my point.
Okay, so we're both right. More me than you.
No, you're only right if we accept your red herring.
No, Tony was completely right there, Nathan. He smashed you.
Yeah.
No,
you need to get on your knees and apologise right now.
No, I don't think he was correct. I think I'm correct. That
yeah, but I never made the point about the point that you're making.
Well, no,
the point I made was that it's favoured more likely if you're not monetised.
I just point out to the audience, this is a flat Earth debate, I promise. So it was not. It's not transformative. Yeah. And Adam's work was transformative in nature. So it's not in any way contextualized in this paragraph whatsoever. So it doesn't apply to Adam. Sorry, you're wrong. I'm right.
Well, hang on. It says the purpose and character of the use, including whether or not such use is...
Hold on. What are you trying to pipe up about? You're trying to get us back on flat Earth, John? Hopefully.
Yeah! Hey, good. Anthony, why don't you do this? Just make another separate video on fair use. And we'll all line up to watch it.
I think it's interesting. That's why I carried on the conversation. I'm a YouTuber though, so I mean, I've read that 100 times. Like what you just read out, I've read that 100 times. Easily.
Oh my goodness, man!
It's highly pertinent to this debate.
I was losing the will to live.
Fair enough. Look, John is representative of a percentage of the audience. If John's losing his will to live, there's a good chance there's a fair few people in the audience also losing their will to live over this conversation. Just saying. Yeah, I like it though. It's about YouTube, and I'm a YouTuber.
I'll concede that point.
Tony, you just make me a Justice for Iron Realm Media short then, and we'll leave
make it into a tight T-shirt, and you'll probably get flat Girth wearing it.
Yeah, and it'll be two sizes too short for him, small for him as well.
Band-Aid.
My question is, if you do something about it, will Anthony bill you for lawyer advice?
Yeah, I just want to point out that he's got like a hefty bust on him, hasn't he?
You're not going to get your way, John. We're going to keep the ad homs going.
Yeah, I know. It's just keep it going. Keep on the same topic. If somebody brings up a topic, make sure you bite on that cheese and go to the end. Chew all the meat off that bone. Come on.
So where in the world is Georgie fucking Musa?
Still not singing it.
What was the question?
Where is George?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking anybody because there was a hint in terms of Rumpus's reply that he's going to get back into this discussion. He's fully in the trenches now from what was alluded.
He's admitted to me that his words were that he felt that Fight the Flat Earth didn't really do a particularly good job. And I said, what, you mean you want a second bite at the cherry? Which is what it is. But he's not going to change his angle. He's going to say the same thing again. He's never going to do that. That's the problem with citations, right? They're going to stand by his words. He might use more weasel words to try and make it a little bit more ambiguous so that Rumpus can weasel his interpretations in there. But they criticize me for being semantic, and that's exactly what he's going to have to do to try and get past this.
Interesting what he means by didn't do a good job. You know what I mean?
I'm just going to get the citation so that I don't misquote him.
This is how you quote somebody. You go and get what they actually said and read it verbatim. Hopefully with the word quote and end quote at the end. Without any interjection of your own in between.
Here we go, I found it. Should I present it on screen, or do you trust me to read it verbatim?
Absolutely, no, I'd rather you presented it.
Okay, so present screen, my entire screen, share. All right, here we go. So, I said you can't call weight a force anymore ever. I can and I will. Just because you are stupid is your problem. Then you disagree with a PhD science writer who tells you it's not a force. That is dishonest. He says all of Newton's laws of gravitational forces are correct. No, he doesn't. That's not what he says. But anyway, he and I are in complete agreement. I may ask him to do a hangout with me. Apparently, he is happy to have them. I don't think Fight the Flat Earth was quite as good as he could have been in the hangout. You are deluded and dishonest. Fight the Flat Earth was brilliant.
I'll tell you what, George Mooser comes out again. Now, I like the guy. He was affable. He comes out here again and starts siding with these crayon munchers.
Whoa.
I'll tell you what.
So, John,
he's going to get on my bad side.
It's already open season. He's already stepped foot in this realm. George Mooser is completely fair game.
Oh, I totally agree, 100%. But I'm going to get medieval. So, better think twice, Georgie.
John, you're killing me with the puns today, man. First the Wonder Twins, now you're getting medieval. Killing me today, bro.
John the Lionheart.
Did you see that I trimmed out your response to Conspiracy Cats?
Yeah. I was sitting here late yesterday evening, and I was thinking, I said, I thought Nathan was going to trim that out. Boop! Notification. So yeah. Has Conspiracy Cats said anything?
I wouldn't have the vaguest idea. I don't watch Conspiracy Cats, so I don't know. I get my information secondhand.
I mean, Adam, did you watch that video? He's probably not around.
He's off mute.
Oh, no, sorry. I had it on my mic. Sorry. I watched it this morning, the re-upload. I was wondering what it was. But no, I don't watch Conspiracy Cats either. So.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, did you listen to what he said?
Yes. Yeah. Was it last night, Tony? We were having a chat about it, weren't we? In terms of the molecules running out of energy.
Yeah.
It's like, really.
Yeah, I heard that. Oh man, I was going to do a video on it, and I just thought I can't be bothered. Somebody else will do it.
And they get up there, and they've run out of heat, and there's nothing around up there that could possibly give them any more energy, is there? Nothing.
Well, it's big and gaining energy, if anything.
They lose all their energy. Oh, it was funny.
It's gaining energy, if anything. It's going through the hot thermosphere where there are sparsely populated things that I'm sure them gas particles are going to bounce into and charge. Boom.
Yeah.
I thought that was the description of particles up there, that they were very, very highly energized because they had very little to interact with, to dissipate and share with.
How about this one?
Energized.
That's totally ridiculous. But how about this one? The second law of thermodynamics is about the movement of energy, not the movement of matter. I can't believe he said that. I really can't. I'm stupefied. Unbelievable. Thanks for the material, guys. Oh, on to another topic. It's still connected. These guys are parroting. I've been hearing a lot of parrots lately about elevation and how they measure elevation from the center of the earth. Right? Have you guys been hearing this a lot recently?
No.
No.
You haven't?
I have.
I understand the argument, though.
They live on a level
You do
curve.
understand the argument, right? And I pummeled that because even their alma mater wiki told them straight out that elevation is not measured from the center of the earth. But anyway, here's another point that I didn't think about until I heard somebody say ellipsoid yesterday. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, good point.
I'll tell you what, let me share my screen. This is so funny. These friggin' ignorant mongs. You already know where I'm going, right?
John, is it morning for you? Have you just woken up?
Yeah.
You always wake up in this mood every morning.
Yeah, because you guys get me there. You got Anthony coming on here, pissing me off, right? Ruins my whole day.
Did you have blood sugar low? Is your breakfast kicked in yet?
I just ate breakfast. I was spitting it everywhere while you guys were talking. Now, is my screen being shared?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, these guys think they live on an ellipsoid, right? They go back and forth depending on their argument. Let me ask you a question. Is the semi-major axis A longer than the semi-minor axis B? Por favor? You frigging knuckleheads. So, I don't know. I don't know what to say to these people. I mean, what do we live on? Do we live on a sphere or do we live on an ellipsoid? Forget about the elevation from the center of the earth. That's stupid fur, right? But they forget that they live on an ellipsoid.
So you're saying it's a bit more complicated than just strapping an R on to sea level?
Oh, you got there before me, Adam.
Ellipse, isn't it supposed to be pear-shaped?
Can I clarify that? Means defending Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson peer-reviewed the Earth, remember?
So what Neil deGrasse Tyson said is it's a little chubbier along the bottom. Someone needs to be on mute. So it's a little bit chubbier on the bottom. And also, I'm sure he throws in the word ellipsoid at some point there as well. However, he then goes on to say that if it was in front of you, as I say, I can't remember what object he uses, but let's say bowling ball, and you were to run your hands over it, to all intents and purposes, it would be a perfect sphere. And the deepest crevice of the Grand Canyon, compared to the highest mountain, Everest, wouldn't even be noticeable as you run your fingers over that ball when scaled down to that size. In other words, it's a perfect sphere. That would be what Neil deGrasse Tyson actually said when he described it as a pear. Now, don't get me wrong, that's double speak. It can't be both a pear and chubbier at the bottom and a perfect sphere. I appreciate the double speak, but just every flat earther who quotes him as saying Earth was a pear ignores the context, which he did give, and I still appreciate that it's double speak. But if you're going to claim Earth's a perfect sphere, you've got to be willing to accept that the rhetoric says otherwise. Now, that's what John's pointing out.
Right.
Yeah,
he still peer-reviewed it, though.
Go on, John.
Okay, let's round off this point. Even granting you, and it's a tear-jerking belly laugher, that elevation is measured from the center of the earth. Even granting that, let me ask you a question. What is the problem here with A and B? Are these two measurements the same? Crayon muncher, ellipsoid idiots. Right? Unbelievable.
You might need to answer the question, because some of them are that stupid, John. Answer your own question.
It's
Answer
not
my
them two,
question.
though, is it? It's everything in between that changes.
Say that again, Adam.
It's not just the major and the minor. Everything, every measurement in between is a variance between those two parameters.
Exactly. They're not so they're not the same.
No, but then nothing is. Everything varies, and it varies at a rate based on the hyperbola of the ellipsoid.
Yeah, yeah. Each measurement will be different, right?
Yeah, and
From
change
the
at
center...
different rates on the Earth. So you couldn't just go 1 mile in one place and say it changes by this much. The rate of change would be different as well.
Doesn't look good for their reification fallacy. I mean,
yeah,
model.
We got to check on. Well, before we have to ask them whether they live on a sphere or an ellipsoid first to get into the argument. Now, I mean, their narrative changes, you know, like the wind. This is a joke. We're in a carnival tent, folks, with abject idiots. That's where we're at. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you for that.
So the Earth is an ellipsoid, but you can think of it as a sphere now?
Yeah.
It never gets old. It never gets old.
That's class.
Oh, I forgot to give Anthony kudos. He hasn't been around for a couple of days. So, Anthony, man, you've had so many props. Of course, that was cute for Anthony too. Anthony, you there? You've got a lot of kudos over the last shows, over the chain reactions you've set off in this regard. So first with Georgie Musa, and then with Conspiracy Cats. So big props to you. Oh, thanks very much, like. Really appreciate the support. No, that's all right. I hope you're growing subscribers.
Anthony!
Hashtag same team.
He's on the mute at the moment.
I'm sorry, guys. I was playing a game.
So I'm assuming this is to do with the poking of the bear with Conspiracy Cats, yeah?
Yeah, man. Take some lessons, Ranty. Anthony's the best at this. You know, but I can't think of anybody who's better at doing it. I know he encourages you to poke the bear, but at least he sets out good examples, right? Epic.
Was he a little drunk when he did that?
I don't know. He's not around to ask.
that weren't so much a poke. It was more of a whack with a big stick with a nail on the end.
I mean, there's making analogies about things, and then, like I say, Tony just goes that extra mile.
Well, when someone gives you a Louisville slugger, you've got to use it, right? Why not? The fact that it's got a spike through the end of it, more power to you, Anthony. Good for you, mate. You got the reaction you played for. Good for you.
What was it all about anyway? I've forgotten what the quote was now.
The idea is, if you say something is not something, and then immediately go on to explain that if you want to, you can think of it as that thing, well, that would be an outrage to most people. And then when you put it in context with a specific something that somebody is not, and then tell the audience, in this case, that you can think of them as that thing, the person is outraged. Now, when it comes to a direct example with gravity, so we're told it's not a force, but then immediately told that if you want to, you can think of it as a force, that is call for outrage. If it's not something, don't tell us that we can think of it as that thing. It's not that thing. Simple as that. And when applied to an individual, they displayed the exact outrage that we were hoping for. Played for and won by Anthony.
So a bit like, you could say,
the Earth is the ball. It's not a ball, but you can think of it as a ball.
It never gets old. Well,
hey, Anthony's
okay,
back.
I've got one here. Brenda,
hold on a second. Anthony's back.
Yeah, and Ranty, you got to give me credit for that now. Come on.
Right, okay, so Brenda isn't a woman, but you can think of her as a woman.
Yeah,
so
it's like being in the cup final and saying, you didn't win the cup final, but you can think of it that you won the cup final.
Yeah, so you're getting props basically, Anthony. You know, you're on fire at the moment, and over the last couple of days, although you haven't been on the show, you've had nothing but good shout-outs. So that means Arwen's got to sabotage while I point out how much credit you're getting.
Unbelievable. Can you guys shut the hell up?
well done, Anthony, for all of your top work at the moment. You're absolutely on fire, mate. And I'm grinning from ear to ear with every video you make at the moment. You're just absolutely on it.
The thing is, like, every one of them that's complaining in the chat, that's basically reasserting the point that Conspiracy Cats is basically doing the opposite with regards to gravity. Like, he's doing a comparison with gravity, because you can't treat gravity as a force if it's not a force. Can't do it. So stop doing it. Otherwise, we're just going to have to call you out on it. And we've been calling him out for more than 12 months. And the guy just smiles and pisses it in our face. And what can we do about it? It's not acceptable to rape the meanings of words. Words mean things. You can't say supersedes means added to. You can't do it. It's dishonest.
So is Conspiracy Cats going to actually go at the argument, or is he going to try to square up with you?
Oh, he's pulling the victim card, saying that, well, he's not pulling the victim card. He's pulling the angry card at the minute. He wants to fight me. And I said, okay. I said, we'll fight. I said, and what I'll do is I'll put my hands behind my back. I said, I won't throw any punches and you can batter me. And when you finish battering me, I'll pick myself up and I'll go, you haven't got gas pressure. Pulling it's not going to change it.
Perfect. I read your post. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Anthony.
I had that in my head. I was playing that, you know, that Rocky scene where he gets battered by Dolph Lundgren and he goes, what's her name? Marion. What was her name? Adrian, yeah. Yeah. So that scene where he picks himself up and he's battered, that was like me in my head thinking, you haven't got a force though, have you?
Yeah, he's not a force. Oh, you guys are a joke.
Shout out to Unicorn Laser Eyes, who says #same team, and shout out to Colin Turner, who says Sleeping Warrior is our hero. Couldn't agree more.
Conspiracy Cats gave Anthony 3 options in the thread, right? And Anthony said, okay, I'll take option number 2, the one that we're in the ring fighting. But before he could say that, Conspiracy Cat said, well, I'm just not going to speak to you ever again. Well, wait a second. I'm taking option 2.
Yeah. So he's blocked me now. I can't see his comments anymore. So he obviously doesn't want this fight.
Oh, he's blocked you? Oh.
Yeah.
They're so butthurt, aren't they? About poking back. Literally, it's just a bit of poking back. If they think of the shit that they've done to us over the past 6 months, right? And then they look at the entire vulgarity that they've put out about us and the misrepresentations and the mocking, and you give a little bit back, and he's blocking you, and then somebody else is copyright striking.
Isn't it glorious? Isn't it glorious? Do you know what it says? It says we're winning.
Yeah, it does. The thing is, rather than deal with the point on the table, which is a legitimate point, right? It is a legitimate point. It's not personal. It's not over below the belt. He has to address this as a teacher, right? And rather than address the point with evidence to support his assertion, he pulls the victim card and he complains that I'm, I don't know, bullying him or whatever. See, we've been polite with you for what, 12 months, and you keep ignoring us and pissing it back in our face. What do you expect? There's only so many times that you can get away with that before we just consider you to be a prick. And that is where we're at.
Okay, it took 12 months for you to consider him a prick. It took me a month.
Yeah.
Cats is at home singing.
Anthony, what were the 3 options again? Option number 1 was to take down your video. Option 2 was to get in the ring and fight. And option 3 was him not to speak to you anymore. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah. So I picked number 2, and then he applied number 3. It's a bit like saying there's no force for gravity, and then saying that there is.
Yeah, great. He gave him the options. Anthony quickly replied, "I'll take option number 2." And then
why don't you just allow him that number 3?
I'm gonna read what I put for my comments in response to his options.
Yeah. Go ahead, pull that up, man. It was pretty good. You're gonna have to pull it. Share your screen, Nathan.
Oh, hang on, okay, let's get this on. So, I've lost it. Where's it gone? Hang on a minute. All right, share screens, entire screen. Right. Right. So, I have to do this. For some reason, my mouse wheel stopped working. I'm not doing it that slow. Right. So, I'm not joking. You've crossed the line. Right. Right, we'll have to keep our eye. There we go. So Baldy Cat says 3 options. 1, remove the video in which you analogize me as a paedophile with a paedophile and accept it was poor judgment, which is fine, and I will accept it. Number 2, stand by your analogy and meet me in the ring. Number 3, try to avoid either of the above to save face. So my next comment, I'm going to find it. I tell you what, I'll meet you in the ring, and I won't throw a punch in protest for you avoiding the science. I will let you duff me in. Doesn't change that you're dodging the science. You set your fight up. Let's broadcast it live on YouTube. I'll let you win. Not one punch will be thrown. I won't even defend myself. You can attack as much as you want and as hard as you want. It won't achieve anything. Gas pressure will still burst off into space, buddy. How's about you do what I want and just accept that it's devoid of evidence and it's just a belief? Put a video out to that effect, and I'll drop this video and I didn't call you a paedophile. I'm not being unreasonable. I just want you to understand that what you're doing is wrong. Sleeping Warrior. So option 3 then, don't ever talk to me again. Well, option 3 was try to avoid either of the above to save face. And then he said,
it's like one of those 3 then. It's like one of those voting booths. What's that you say? You want to vote for this person? You've picked option 3. No. Option 2. You've picked option 3.
So then I've said we'll have your fight. I'll let you win. I won't defend myself. Meeting you in the ring was an option. I chose that one. Option 2.
Press 3 to have a boxing match. I press 2. Press 3.
Yeah. It's horrendous. It's like, can you see the problem? Like, you say it's just like in picking gravity when it's a force, not being a force. It's like you can't pick when it's a force in the same way that you can't say I've picked number 3 when I picked number 2.
They have hearing problems as well. It's like when you say, "Can you give me a demonstration of that?" They'll say, "I've given you an explanation."
Yeah.
I completely
classic Anthony. Thanks, man.
Anthony, I completely understand it now. It says, Anthony, you have 3 options. However, you can only think of it as one.
Really?
That's been your
3 options, but I'm going to pick number 3 for you.
That's your best to date, 10th man. They never get old, but that's been the best one so far.
Yeah, don't say anything else, 11th man. You just, like George Costanza, just leave. Because you can't do any better than that.
And with that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who've joined us in the Nathan Oakley live audience. If you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. If you want to keep yourself occupied after this live stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Sorry, I'm chuckling while I'm doing my outro. Massive thanks to all of you who hit the super chat. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
The trouble I see.
What the hell is that?
My sorrow.
What the hell are you singing? I come in the middle. I don't hear the beginning of anything. You guys are singing?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the prison song when they're rubbing the cup against the bars. got the harmonica. Nobody knows the trouble I've been in.
Exactly.
Nobody knows my sorrow.
That is hilarious, when I was reading, 11th man, that was absolutely perfect.
I had to rush quickly, right? Because 10th man's gag was that good. As soon as he said it, I started scrambling around, getting the desk ready to close out the live show. I was like, "That's just so good an ending. I can't not end on that note." 3 minutes early just for that gag.
Hey, Nathan, do you see my one day only icon?
Oh
one
my
day
god!
Only.
Hashtag same team.
Hashtag same team. Shh, Ranty's here.
I am, yeah. Why? What's up? What have I missed?
Did you guys get the impression when I was reading out my answer about lying on the floor and not defending myself? Did you get the picture that I was describing, like in Rocky, where he's getting battered?
Adrian, there is no gas pressure without a container.
Nathan!
Oh, that's bad.
You have 3 options. Press option 3 to remove your video. Press option 3 to have a fight, and press option 3 to do none of the above.
So option 3 was you've selected option 3.
It's a good time. It's a good time to be a flat earther.
It is a good time. I'm just glad that I love the fact that Rumpus thinks that he's going to somehow get Musa to change his mind on his position when he's already not changed it once. He's not going to not change it a second time.
Do you not think it's quite incredible that you're... I mean, I know I've said in the last few shows that we're at the tip of the spear, but you've got our opponents saying that they've got to approach an astrophysicist to change his rhetoric that he's put out on one of their shows.
Their arguments.
I mean, you can't get much more right on the cutting edge of this subject, if you ask me.
Well, you got to thank Craig for like the fight the flat Earth, because obviously
no.
we're thanking you.
No. I will thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Sleeping Warrior.
Well, I suppose I was the one that... I mean, John gave me the citation, but I'm the one that put my neck on the line and stood my ground and said, no, go on then. Let's see. Because at the end of the day, John gets criticised for cherry-picking statements or whatevers. And at the end of the day, when I read that, I read it 50 times and I thought that I can't see an angle that's strong enough to mean that I've got this wrong. Fuck you. Do what you need to do. And then, like I said, he stabs him in the eye with a compass and Craig smiles, thinking that in some way he supported him. And I'm like, Craig, you're a moron.
Still haven't heard anything from anybody in the Discord server for both shows. It's been open with all the mics open and literally not one of them has said a word in there.
Huh.
Weird. Jose's live now, though. I think he went live a while ago.
In Discord, can someone just at least say a hello? Just to prove that I haven't just faked having a Discord.
I think it wasn't working, obviously, because nobody spoke.
Yep.
Right. Well. Oh, they're flashing away, but I can't hear them.
Huh.
Okay, don't know why that is. Sorry, people in Discord.
Did you hear me in the Discord just now?
No.
Nobody heard me? Did you see me in there?
I saw you flash, but I didn't hear you, so that was instantly when I knew there was something wrong. I was tempted. There was an issue right at the beginning. One of the videos wouldn't play. So at the beginning of the last show, I did like, this is what I've watched in the last 24 hours, or 12, because Ranty arrived. And then I just put a few links. But each time I went to play the video, it said, you need to restart your PC. But by then I was into recording and I got everything set up. So I was like, sod it. So that's probably why Discord can't be heard. So I'm really sorry if you were trying to get some really good points across.
You think it's on your end, Nathan?
It is on my end. I just need to restart my PC and that'll presumably sort the problem out.
Right, gents, I'm going to do one. I'll catch you all later. Good chat.
Take it easy, Adam.
God bless, guys. Take it easy.
Later, Adam. Have a good one, brother.
Stuff.
See you in a bit.
Oh, so Nathan, Anthony last night pulls me into a hangout blind. You know, I was doing something else here. I get a message on Skype. John, you got to get in here. I'm like, oh, no. What you get yourself into now? Now you got to come in. Who do I go into? Hillbilly Blue Balls is in there.
Oh, okay.
Unbelievable, man.
How'd you get on with Hillbilly Blue Balls?
The panel, not well, because they decided to be a liberal panel and not support any of their claims. You should check it out, man, the couple of minutes. And Anthony siding with them, calling me grumpy.
Yeah, who's going to call you grumpy?
Okay, sorry to change the subject. I found the audio problem. So I'm gonna change my audio setting. If everything cocks up now, it'll be the end of this after show.
Hello.
I can still hear Skype. I can still hear Hangouts. Let's see if
Nobody say anything.
Say something in
You
Discord.
want me to jump in Discord again?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
See if it works now.
Yeah, I don't think you're grumpy, John. Not at all.
Yeah, he starts commiserating with these guys. Yeah, he's grumpy. Just be nice to him. It'll be okay.
I mean, angry, maybe. Not grumpy, though.
Anthony's not even saying anything. Come on, speak up, Anthony. Speak.
Still nothing in Discord, huh?
Yeah, nothing's.
No.
I just have to restart the PC to get that to work, I think.
My light's not even
the problem is
shining when I speak.
I know what the issue is, the boring bit, I might as well explain it. So this computer's the lounge computer, so my wife also uses it to watch stuff, and if she changes the audio settings, it then changes what a normal tab will be going out to. So it sends it out so it can be Dolby digitized or whatever and surround sounded. But then when I use the desk, it's just 2-channel. I have to switch it back. But unless I restart the PC, it doesn't change Google. What's it called? Chrome. It doesn't change Chrome back, so it just stays as it was. So it's not outputting to the desk. It's outputting trying to make nice sound for a movie or whatever my wife watched. So sorry, I'll just have to restart the PC. I did know that. I just didn't do it at the beginning of the show. I forgot. It was the cause of huge confusion before I figured out what was causing it. So I'd start a new show and like nothing was set as it was before and be like, what's going on? Now I know how to get around it, but I just didn't know it would cause... I knew how to get around it while the PC's running. In other words, without restarting, but obviously that doesn't work for Discord because it's just on a normal tab. Anyway.
Right.
Oh well. At least we're still working. At least we've still got an after show.
Yeah, it was still a good show.
Is 10th Man still with us?
Not if he's smart.
No, he's gone.
That's a good move.
No, left.
Yeah, very wise.
Because you can't get any better than that. He caught us off guard with it a little bit too, which was perfect.
I'll have to write down exactly how he said it, but there's three options, but you can... No, there's only one option, but you can think of it as though there's three.
It's not going to end.
Well, it's just perfect. It's more perfect because it's in reference to conspiracy cats. So we've got, you're not a paedophile, but you can be thought of as a paedophile. Well, in this instance, you've not got more than one option, but you can consider it as though you've got more than one option. Yeah. You know, they're all in reference to the same person. And the argument to begin with was George Musa, who makes the original quote. So it's all nicely getting tied together. I love that. All nice and neat.
Like you said, the possibilities are just endless. It's not going to end.
No, and it'll never get old.
Right, John. It's not going to end, and it shouldn't end, because it's a perfect example of the doublespeak nonsense that these pseudoscience, science hijackers have displayed. This is the bullshit that we're fighting against.
Yep.
I don't know how somebody can say something like that, and it's cool. Like, that's not cool to just say, oh, this is not anything, but you can think of it as something. What? Who are you talking to like that? I mean, come on.
Yep. I agree. Especially a man of science.
Talking to... Well, he's not a man of science. No, he's not a man of science. He's not a man of science. He's a priest.
Right, but in their eyes, he's a man of science. And in the general community and society, he's considered a scientist.
You really gonna...
What?
You can't let you get away with that when you've just tore a new strip off Anthony. I don't care what they think, John.
No, what I'm saying here is general society considers them a scientist.
I don't care what general society thinks. He's a pseudo-scientist, pretender clown, muppet, crayon muncher.
Yeah, I'm not talking about baltards. I'm just talking about general society at large.
I'm just busting your balls because you tore a strip off Anthony earlier, that's all.
It's okay. It's just a false equivalence fallacy.
Damn you.
But to be fair, guys, he was technically correct, right?
Let me get this straight. And hold on. Pray silence. Arwen is about to align with the doublespeak nonsense of George Musa. The mic's all yours. Go.
I'm only talking about the technical correctness. It was technically correct. It was definitely doublespeak wizardry. Tried to derail the logical train of thought that, yeah, things definitely do have to be real in order for them to be taken seriously. But he was basically saying, yeah, it's not real, but yeah, you can think of it as real. Because, yeah, you can. That's technically correct. Just like I said, yeah, it's an aberration. It seems like it works. You can definitely use it as if it would be working that way, but it doesn't actually work that way because you can't prove it. So that perfectly aligns with me. I tried to share that with you guys from the start, but he's technically correct.
What in
Yeah,
the
correct. And that is
world?
bullshit.
I added on a little, obviously, but yeah.
So how can it be doublespeak and be technically correct?
Well, he speaks the truth, and then he just gives you the options as how to approach that. That's literally what is going on. But by the, I don't know, conditioning of trust and everything, the ballers just don't see that, and they just see it as, oh, that's something more deep or something. So they approach it differently. They don't approach it with critical thought and really analyze what he's saying. But technically, he is correct.
You still didn't answer my question. How can it be doublespeak? That means there's a paradox and still be correct.
Right. Well, in that sense, it's not doublespeak. But it does have the effect of doublespeak if you don't approach it carefully.
So it's not doublespeak. We can think of it as doublespeak.
Yes.
Oh, I can't believe he got there that quickly.
But I'm serious. I am being a bit pedantic though, as usual.
That's the scary part.
Because yeah, it's basically he's just admitting it without making it so obvious that he is admitting it. He covered it up really nicely, as we demonstrated. The other guy who was facing him in the hangout just didn't really notice. He just thought, oh yeah. So that's where the wizardry part is like not making it blatantly obvious as to what he's trying to say. But what he did say was technically correct. Yeah, it's not a force, but you can think of it as one. Of gravity as a force. Yeah, that's
so bullshit.
True.
That's bullshit.
So if I go and get a Fiera and I put a load of body panels on it and then put a Ferrari badge on it, so because I can think of that as a Ferrari, does it mean it's a Ferrari?
No. Well, no, that's wrong. Yeah, technically, yes, you could think that, but it would be delusional to do that. And nobody would agree with you, probably.
Right.
Wow, so, Nathan, a Fiera? You took it back, bro.
So technically, Nathan's delusional? Is that what you're saying?
If he would do that, yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a technical.
So George Musser is delusional.
No, he said it was a general statement. He didn't even say that it was his personal belief, or that he would take it as a force. I don't know. Did he afterwards say, and I do take it as a force when... Anyway, this is all wandering off into nonsense. I just thought, yeah, technically he's correct.
No, technically he's incorrect.
Can't you think of things as anything you like? Isn't that technically possible?
Yes, that's technically true. So if I want to, I can think of my computer as a roast chicken. I can do that.
Yes, exactly. It is technically possible.
That doesn't mean his computer is a roast chicken, are we?
You know. Doesn't, but he can't think of it like it is. It's technically possible if he really wanted to. It's the new think, you know.
I don't know if you guys realize that if you stop and think about what you're all saying, is you're seeing the impact of postmodernism on our society. As long as you believe it, as long as you think it, as long as it's your opinion, it's true for you, but not true for everybody else. You're experiencing the outcome of that thought process. and it falls apart, obviously, under its own weight.
Of course. But
Sorry,
I don't know. I just remember that in past Hangouts, after basically the aberration declaration, I've pretty much said almost word for word, literally like what he described myself in my Hangouts. So I just thought that was remarkable.
So what you're saying is, in trying to defend the indefensible nonsense of a downward force, you ended up formulating the same double-speak nonsense as George Musa, and you think that's remarkable?
No, I'm not double speaking. I'm just calling it out for what it is, an aberration. A structural system that, because of its design, because of its conceptualization, works out really well. There's just no way to prove it. So it's more like an ethereal or mathematical tool that's not really grounded in physical reality when you try to make the connection. That's how I described it. As in not real.
So you're falling into the trap of as long as it works mentality. So if it works, we use it.
But you can't deny that it does when applied.
What works?
We don't know that it does, though, because nobody understands the maths.
Wait a second. What? I want to know what works.
When they apply these things to architecture, structural design, structure, integrity.
We've been down this road before. Show me.
Can't. I don't have the direct. That was even before the internet.
Yeah, I'm going to need to see Newtonian equations in architectural drawings and engineering. I need to see them.
Well, they applied them in emulators afterward with pretty early but advanced architecture design assist programs. It was basically wireframe output. It wasn't very impressive yet.
And now a lesson in cowbell.
Yep, I need some cowbell. I got a fever, and the only cure is cowbell.
All right, good for you.
No, I'm not just saying it to you, Arwen. You're not the only one that's made that claim. We've heard that claim for the past, I don't know, maybe 2 years now. These engineers have come on. Some, I don't know whether they're engineers or not. You know, the Muppets that come on here and say, "Yeah, I'm an engineer," and they've made those claims too, and they've got the same treatment. Where is it? Show us. No one has shown.
You're demanding scientific evidence, and I specifically mentioned that's not there. It's not.
No, I'm not demanding scientific evidence. Nope, I'm not demanding scientific evidence. I just want to see the equations with their bridges and their architectural drawings. I just want to see a building that was built, and I want to see those equations. So no scientific evidence.
Okay,
that's not what I'm after.
A very rough example without giving you exactly what you asked for, by the way, because I'm not going to Google all that shit right on the spot. But in general, when even thinking about it structurally, just presupposing a force disequilibrium present at all time downward makes a lot of other stuff not so complicated to deal with. You don't have to work in the relative density stuff, which is definitely real.
Sorry, Arwen, I'm really sorry to do this to you.
But quite complex in bigger setups.
Yeah.
Too.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's not what I'm asking.
You too, John. I'm sorry to do this to you as well. Okay, so what Arwen's just done is repeated his claim. The way this works is as follows. You make a claim, and then you support it with evidence. So in this instance, there's a claim that engineers need gravity. So that's the claim. We don't need to hear it again, but we have, rather than seeing support for the claim. And just in case anyone was wondering, after that, that's when you get the cowbell. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, it's not a personal thing against you, Arwen. You're not, like I said, you're not the only one to make that claim. I just want to see it.
But it's a great example without Arwen rumpusing me afterwards. I'm not suggesting that you were going to, Arwen. I'm just saying that typically a baller would now rumpus this point, which is to say that a reassertion or a rephrasing of the same claim doesn't necessarily back your claim. So
But I'm not necessarily even making that claim. I'm just saying, all I'm really stating originally is that it's just a little easier. I find it a lot easier even now to conceptualize things through gravity. Seriously, I don't always do that by default, but it's easier than to really try to framework the relative density thing.
But that doesn't mean anything.
For an issue that's easy,
hold
but
on, let
in
me
the
just...
big framework, it's not.
I find it easier to understand quantum mechanics when I use the mathematics of unicorn farts in the process. That just makes it easier for me to understand. That's essentially what you're saying.
Not necessarily about understanding. It's about modeling things out. What'll happen.
But I've got transform equations for unicorn farts. They balance out beautifully. And therefore, as far as I'm concerned, without those transform equations, you wouldn't have computers.
Oh, really? Well, show me those equations then. And why they're so easy.
Right.
There you go. Exactly.
But I led him. Let me do it. So, what's that you say? You want evidence? No, no, no. What I'll now do is paraphrase what I've just said. Don't rumpus me. Come on. I'll now paraphrase what I've just said in a slightly different way and say that I'm not really making a claim about it. So I'll do what you've done. Actually, I'm not making a claim about unicorn farts. It's just a way that I find it easier to make the perfect sense of how computers work with unicorn farts. No evidence given, just a paraphrasing of what I originally claimed.
All right.
I don't need to give evidence, do I?
I might find another example. How about, I know that it did exist. I don't know how much is applied, but more
that was the
physics
detail.
engine game.
Please be my patsy.
Wait.
What was that you said? What were the words you just used? I don't know where it's applied.
No, I don't know if it's still being applied. I just know it was in the works.
Perfect.
Like 15 years ago.
That's the point.
I have seen examples of that on video. 3D renderings.
He's just fucking babble because he thinks he's got a point.
No, I'm not. No, you're talking over me as I try to explain.
Because you've made the point. Our point being that when you make a claim, you have to support it with evidence. And when you get into discussion right here, right now, I'm not trying to piss you off or point out that you're wrong. That's not the objective. The objective is overall for anybody listening or anybody who comes here and makes a claim that they realise at some point, like you have just done, that you don't actually know where it might be applied or if it's applied at all right now. But that's the point. That's why supporting evidence is so critical, because it might just be an idea you have that isn't necessarily true.
You know what? You're being such a pushy asshole.
No, it's nothing personal.
Right now.
He's not being an asshole.
It's nothing personal. It's not personal.
I was talking and you were typically talking over me, so I couldn't even make the full point. So I'm just gonna look it up and see if I can shove something in your face.
Perfect. That makes my point. Which is that's exactly the point. You can shove it right.
Yeah. I'm gonna mute.
I'm not gonna be allowed because he's triggered. That's the point, Arwin. So yeah, you can shove it right in my face. Not that I give a toss about this point. That's not the point I'm making. My point isn't about whether or not architecture uses gravity. It's about when anybody makes a claim, not to just re-support it with a reassertion and a paraphrasing, but actual, as you put it, evidence to shove in the person's face.
Yeah, and what equations are they talking about? Are they talking about Einstein's equations or Newtonian equation? Because, right? He just said gravity, but which gravity is he talking about? So, yep, that's the point.
He also, something else he said that I don't know if I guess you guys caught it. It was computer models, not reality. They apply these so-called equations.
I have equations for the flux capacitor, but I'm not going to show you guys evidence because I don't want to.
Just explain how it works twice or three times with me saying I need evidence, and we'll see how we get on, eh?
It just works. It just works. Trust me.
But just believe you, right?
Yeah, just believe me. Just believe me. Trust me.
No.
Yeah, no. I don't know.
Alrighty then.
No. Flux capacitor in Narnia.
Right, you want a demonstration?
Yes, please.
I'm gonna present one right
Here
now.
we go.
Right, nobody interrupting. Yes, please, Arwen.
That's just a freaking video plucked off YouTube. So here you go, physics engine in a 3D system. Right, you can already see it freaking around. So this is basically a physics emulator they're using.
Can you make it full screen, please? Full screen.
I can't see it, Nathan.
Yeah, I'll sort that out in a sec. Which screen is it? Okay, you got that?
Right, so let me show you again. Here you go.
Yes.
What point are you making, Arwen?
Well, this is a setup where the standard physics, including a presupposition of gravity, is applied. I'm pretty sure of it.
Talking about
Although
a model.
practically it is perfectly demonstratable or explainable through
So
density.
what we need to know is what would
bit more complex in the use of an emulation. I wasn't done yet.
Don't interrupt him, Anthony. Sorry, Arwen, go ahead.
Although you can apply density and buoyancy, all of it, to actually use it in a framework complicated calculation system is being used in this physics engine. Well, I'd like to see you build a system that could replicate that purely based on relative density theory.
Yeah, but hang on, Arwen. Surely
No,
the question...
no, that's it. That's it.
Let me ask you a question about what you've presented.
Right.
Would you agree that if you were to remove the effect of gravitation, depending on which one you apply, the difference between the parts in a trillion that Einstein quantified it as and the 50 millionth to one that Cavendish quantified it as would make zero difference to what we've just seen?
But that's not part of that equation, really, even though it is part of the narrative. Because what they actually apply is just a standard force disequilibrium downwards. That's how they mechanically apply it in the engine. That's what you're seeing. That's the real gravity. The rest is all speculation bullshit. That's what I originally was defending.
It's not been answered, though. My question was, if they removed gravitation out of it, what would the difference be?
There would only be momentum and everything would just be floating in this if you took the force disequilibrium out of it.
So mass. So are you applying gravity as the whole mass?
It's a simulation. That's the setup, the framework of the calculation that is actually creating this output.
Yeah, but the issue is how much of an effect will gravity have? And gravity is not the whole object's mass, is it? It's only 50 million.
Calculating on the cause of it, it's just applying a force disequilibrium in the simulation.
Well, okay, that wasn't what you asked for. Equations where they're applied, meaning in reality.
I didn't see any equations. I just seen a
simulation.
Was it a
exactly
building?
what I demonstrated. So
Hold
now
on a
that's
second.
good enough. Now I have to get in that program and get all the codes apart to prove you that
hold on a second. Don't get upset.
Because
Why are you
I
getting
don't have
upset?
access to that.
Why are you getting upset over this?
Because you're asking things that I obviously have no access to.
That's fine.
I'm not doing it purposely. My question was, repeat my question.
I have a
back.
counter question.
Arwen, come on.
Right,
none of this is personal, right? But you're taking it extremely personal.
No. I'm just passionate. I'm not taking it personal. I have just an important counter question. Okay, so, right, how many people in the world, including programmers, do you think have even heard of the concept of relative density? Do you think that is what they typically grab to in their codes?
Okay.
Wait a second. What was my
question? Mechanics for physics. I'm not done yet. Or do
what was my question? Now you're pissing me off.
Yeah, he's red herring you. He's just used a red herring. Arwen, we don't care about whether or not they use this equation when they're modeling games, for example, or modeling blocks falling down. The question is in regards to the equations that are applied to people who make stuff in reality. Bridges, architects, you said.
Architects use these types of programs to simulate structural tension.
Yeah, that's a third repetition of your assertion. Now, like Brenda...
Okay, well, I'll put a post in the newspaper if an architect could report to me and
Not what we're asking for.
Okay?
But that's what John's just said. What was the question? What are we asking? What's John asking for, not me?
Personal testimony. Okay?
No. The equations that are applied in reality when they build things, the architecture itself, according to the narrative, I'm not even going to attribute it to you. According to the ballers, they say, this is applied in architecture. Well, what John's asking for is, show me where it's applied. What's the equation that's applied to this bridge or whatever's being built?
Right. Well, I can summarize that without any proof, but I know it works like this because I've heard the story many times.
No, thank you. As I've said, no, thank you. So I've already said 3 times, no, a paraphrasing of the same claim isn't going to be sufficient. Why are you doing this, Arwin? Why are you doing it? When the point is that, oh, so he's going to rage quit rather than listen, that the point, the entirety of my point, not John's, because he wants to see the equations, which Arwin hasn't given us rage quit, is that when you make a claim, don't just reassert the claim, paraphrasing it 4 different times. Support it with evidence. Don't get angry when we say you haven't supported it with evidence and reaffirm what we actually want. That's what Arwin's just done. It's just like, why are you behaving like a baller?
Because he's made an assertion he knows he can't back up and you've caught him. That's what the problem is.
Yeah, Arwin's still holding on to this. He's been relinquishing it over a tediously long period. You know, it's like, God, when the penny first dropped, I can almost remember it. You know, it must have been at least 8 or 9 months ago. And the penny dropped, he had that gasp of air, and then ever so slowly relinquished the forced disequilibrium bullshit narrative. And, you know, this is like the death throes of it as far as I'm concerned. Poor Arwin, we still love you. There's just no force of down.
Has anyone outside of this hangout seen anyone support that claim of engineers?
No.
Well, Brian Mullins said that he's never accounted for gravity once.
Right.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, he did
a
say
long
that.
time ago. Huh?
Yeah, Brian Staveley, I believe, replayed all of his balls out physics. Yeah, he did say that.
Because he always see. It depends on what units they use, though, doesn't it? Some of the units are calculated using G, and some of them are not.
Ah, we got there in the end. That's where I think the assertion comes from.
The units.
Yeah, they'll just apply units that are dependent on gravity in the mathematics, and therefore they're using gravity.
Which gravity?
That's why Rumpus always says about weight being a force.
Exactly. So
he knows he's going to use little g. He needs it in there.
We don't know which gravity. We've never seen it backed up with evidence, John. So we don't know which gravity they're going to be claiming they apply in this fictional application during what we assume is just a hijacking of terminology when they say weight or something to that effect. Maybe that's the next question, Anthony, when this claim comes up. Which gravity?
Oh yeah, I mean Rumpus has been defining it for me quite recently. Let me help the panel. Where is it? Rumpus's position currently is with regards to the definition for gravity is mass in the 4D world causes bending of 4D space-time. Objects moving through that space are affected by curvature, and in our 3D world, that manifests itself as a force. That's what he's saying now.
There is no space-time. There is no space-time. Quantum mechanics has pummeled space-time in so many experiments, it would choke a billy goat. So, you know, support that claim. We want to see space-time.
Yeah, I'd like to see that conceptual medium, and then I'd like to see it being bent.
Who just left? Or was it Arwin?
But while they're at it, they can show me some of that Earth curve. Lots of bends there seem to be missing in their rhetoric, right? Actual physical evidence, this bending space-time or Earth bending. Show me the bend.
And then show us
They're
drop.
missing a little bit of movement too.
We got to see drop. It's not Earth curvature. You need to change that question. We need to see drop. Vertical, like vertical drop. That's painfully redundant, isn't it?
Wouldn't it be evidenced in the elevation profile?
Yeah, but what they do now, see, I've had a couple people stop and say that Google Maps isn't their model. So fair enough. Show me their model.
Well, that's okay. So that's fine by me. I'll say it becomes our model, and the reason I'm going to say that is because everything it examples or demonstrates is flat. So yeah, I'm happy to take Google and say, I don't know why they have this zooming in graphic of a ball at the beginning, because it's demonstrably flat in that map.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one when they ask for a reification fallacy. I mean model. Flat Earthers, where's your model? Just pull up Google Earth.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have the balls. I'm gonna do that next time it happens. Where's your model? I'll post a link to Google Earth. There you go. It demonstrates it as being flat. Check the elevations all over.
Yep, you're listening out there, Flat Earthers. When they say post a model, just pull up Google Earth, go to Soundly's Pontchartrain Choo-Choo Train Bridge, and then just show them that both sides of the shoreline, not the bridge, is at the same elevation. And level is flat. Level is defined at 2 points with the same elevation.
Do us a favour,
level.
Do us a favour, Auntie. You there?
I'm here, what's up?
Any chance you can bring up Google Earth and do a, I don't know, 100, 200, 300 mile elevation profile? Of anything?
Yeah.
At all?
Yeah.
So while Anthony's doing that, I'll explain to the audience what we're about to do. We're about to demonstrate, using Google Earth, that the Earth is in fact flat. Obviously, observably, and measurably, demonstratably flat. Okay,
right.
Got Anthony up.
How many miles did you say?
I don't know. I do John O'Groats to Land's End. Okay, so can you now spin the ball to show that what they're showing at this? No, don't zoom in. I want to show it curved from this high altitude. So if you can spin the ball on its side to get England onto the side of the ball, just to there we go. Spin it back a bit. There we go. Sweet. So it's curving. According to this view, let's do an elevation profile. See what it shows us. Oh, what do you know? It's drawn it in a flat, square, well, rectangular box. And the line along the entirety of the bottom is flat. So all this top stuff is the topology, and what it's referencing along the bottom to give us this topology is completely flat.
Yeah, there's no curve.
There's no curve. It's not demonstrating it on a curve. It's not measuring it on a curve. It's not referencing any of the elevation differences to a curve. It's showing you that it's flat. Now, from the top view, it shows it curved. So why isn't it curved in terms of the elevation profiles? Well, because it isn't curved, and that's measured. That's the measured elevation differences. You're not going to get dropped from point A to point B on any of these unless the topology causes it.
So let's just preempt what they'll say. They'll say it's referencing the geoid because it's lower than flat. You know, the baseline.
No, it's
below.
not. It's not. It's on screen what it's referencing. It's in a square, flat, I keep saying square, rectangular box with a flat bottom. So if you need those elevations to be accurate and they're actually on a curved surface, then that bottom line needs to be curved for it to be accurate. It's not curved. It's running flat because it's flat.
Hey, do it to the States over here and see what happens. I'm in Knoxville. Do it to Knoxville.
Knoxville, has that got any claims to fame?
UT Vols, let's see, World's Fair back in 1986. That's about it. Sunsphere.
Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah.
Can you click hide on your share button? Thanks.
How many miles should we go for? The whole country?
Yeah.
Let's go east to west.
Do the whole of Central America.
Try to do it. Now, Kansas is supposed to be flatter than a pancake, so try to get it through Kansas, too. So,
Texas.
find Kansas.
Yeah.
Missouri.
Kansas is in the middle. Tennessee's that little red dot right
That'll
there.
do. Just anywhere there. Just plonk it down anywhere. It doesn't matter. That'll do.
I want to get it through Kansas. I want to see. It's in the middle, isn't it? Where is it? I don't see it.
It's right there. Oh, your line's running right through it, right there.
Perfect.
Oh, right, yeah. I see
Right
it. It's right in the middle. I had it. Oops. Wrong one. So.
Oh, again, it doesn't seem to be presenting the elevation differences on a curve. It's presenting them on a completely flat surface. Flat, plane, level.
Well, actually, look at that. That's showing that Kansas is on a curve, but going up, concave.
Well, no, that's the topology. What I'm talking about is the box it's in. Where's it referencing each of these things? The bottom line, forget the topology on top, it's referencing it to a flat surface, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Right, so it's not demonstrating that these things are curving around a ball. When you get the elevation profiles, it's all referenced to a flat plane. Doesn't matter how far you spread it out. Yeah, you've got high peaks and low valleys, but all of it's referenced to flat. There it is, black and white.
So when we move it around here, mind you, would have to do it the other way, and I can't because of the. I'll have to tip it.
I tell you what, do it with half of the claimed sphere, and then throw up an elevation profile. Do it across the entire, do it across the whole of the Americas.
No, go from South America to the coast of Africa. Zoom in on the coast of South America, get an elevation, then go to South Africa and do it on the shoreline.
Well, why don't we just go all the way around the Earth?
It might break it. You better be careful. It might break it.
Might break what? Oh, what do you know? So, again, it's demonstrating that this massive distance is flat. You've only got the topology giving you a different reference. And even the topology presents itself as concave.
Yeah, it does.
So it's flat. But for the topology, it's saying it right there. It's in a square box going halfway around the sphere. So it's not wrapping around a sphere then. They're not referencing a sphere. They're referencing flat. It is as simple as this. It ain't a ball, people.
So what this means is you can think the Earth's not a ball, but you can think of it as a ball.
And on that note, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who have joined us in the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. If you need to keep yourself occupied after this premiering stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. A massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!